Well, it's time for a garden reboot. I've been a gardener for over 30 years, and guerrilla gardening has not only made me happy, but it's made me successful and rich as well. For those of you who don't know, guerrilla gardening is the act of gardening without permission on land that does not belong to you. And basically you do it for the purpose of improving your surroundings and to provide fruit, flowers, and vegetables for yourself and everyone else to use and enjoy. I first learned about guerrilla gardening when I came across this quote: "Gardening is the most therapeutic and defiant act you'll ever do." And it was attributed to someone named Ron Finley. Now, I understood the whole part about gardening being therapeutic, but I couldn't wrap my head around how gardening could possibly be considered defiant. So I decided to research this Ron Finley guy. Turns out he calls himself a gangster gardener, and he uses, it's true, and he uses guerrilla gardening to improve his community. So he started off by planting vegetable gardens all along the curb in front of his house. And he allowed the people in the community to come by and pick whatever they wanted. Next thing you know, Ron gets a citation from the city for gardening without a permit, because there was actually laws against planting anything but grass or trees on the side of the curb. So Ron decided to defy the law, and he fought for his right to grow food on public land. The community rallied behind him, and the city backed down. Now, this made perfect sense to me, because, well, it was public land, and public land's for everybody. At least that's my definition of public, and I couldn't see why there was ever even a problem with this in the first place, because it was a benefit to the community. Well, I thought this might be kind of a good idea, and I realized that, because again, I believe it's easier to ask for forgiveness than beg for permission, so I thought that guerrilla gardening just might be a really good idea. For the first time in my life, I lived in a house. And then I moved to a townhouse. And with a townhouse, there are rules. So here I am, I'm a townhouse dwelling, plant-obsessed guerrilla gardener without a yard. So I started off planting vegetables and seeds and flowers at my neighbors' places. Even though I didn't ask for permission, this seemed to make the neighbors pretty happy. So I was feeling encouraged. So then what I did was I got an apple tree and I planted it between my townhouse unit and the one next door. And I did this because, well, I like apple pie jam. Turns out my neighbor does too. This came in very handy, and she was very forgiving when the ripe apples were falling over her deck. Now, there happened to also be children in my townhouse complex, so I decided to create some fairy gardens on the public space as well, and I built them under a tree just there on the common area. And the children in the neighborhood would pop by every now and again to see, if there were any new occupants. My guerrilla gardening experiment was going pretty good. But, and in every townhouse complex, there is always a but. I know. You've been there, right? So when I started lining up multiple containers of flowers and vegetables all along my walkway, and then I started calling it my pot garden, something happened. I got a letter. And it was from the townhouse council about the excessive number of pots on my walkway. Now, to be fair, my pot usage was a little excessive. I did have almost 40 different pots lined up down the walkway and around the corner. But because I was a guerrilla gardener, I didn't let this bother me much. I figured the letter was just a suggestion or maybe an ill-formed opinion. So I promptly ignored it. Surprisingly, nothing happened at all. Like absolutely nothing. It's a fact. You can actually buy off your neighbors with plants, seeds, and jam. So it was all going really, really well. So I thought, well, I'm going to expand my guerrilla gardening activities. So I continued to leave plants, seeds, and jam on my neighbors' doorsteps, which I think helped distract them from the greenhouse I had set up on my balcony. And I started learning how to collect seeds. Well, I gave away 465 packs of seeds. And I did this for 3 reasons. 1, because my mother taught me to share. 2, because people really seem to like getting free stuff. And 3, my seed stash was vastly overcoming my storage capabilities. Now, a lady should never discuss the size of her seed stash. But I'm no lady, and let me tell you, there was plenty to go around, if you know what I mean. In an effort to become greener, I decided to, take some stuff from the junk pile and repurpose them into garden planters. Now, this old radio that I recycled, not only did I save money on a container, but when I entered it in the fair, I won first place for Best Novelty Planter and $5 in prize money. I was making money and I'd saved something from the landfill. I felt like some kind of eco-warrior. So then I thought, well, I'm going to take some more recycled items and I'm going to create some other fairy gardens on public spaces. And people started adding stuff until it became an entire fairy village. It was amazing that my people were becoming involved in my guerrilla gardening activities without knowing anything at all about it. And I continued as these little gardens that I had here and there progressed. I left flowers and vegetables on various people's doorsteps, even if I didn't know them. And I joined not just 1, but 2 community gardens. And I continued to plant flowers, seeds, and vegetables wherever I could find room, even if the space did not belong to me. Someone once said to me, well, how are you going to make money doing that? But the truth is, guerrilla gardening made me rich. I realized that I created happiness, not just for myself, but for other people as well. Guerrilla gardening was kind of turning out to be my superpower. So, of course, I had to get an outfit. When Gardening World magazine was polled, they polled 1,500 people, and 80% of those who garden said that they had greater life satisfaction. 93% said that gardening boosted their mood and left them feeling happy. One study even showed that you can reduce the incidence of dementia by 36% by gardening daily. 36%, that's huge. Plus, there's also financial benefits to gardening. You can actually save money on groceries, especially if you're buying organic, and it can help increase your property values as well. So with this in mind, I wrote something called the Guerrilla Garden Manifesto. And it was about how I was going to encourage people to become involved in gardening and use my guerrilla gardening skills to help reboot and improve my community. Then I had a TEDx moment. What if I could use my Guerrilla Garden Manifesto to inspire people to do what I'm doing so that they could reboot and engage their community as well? I could start like a guerrilla garden revolution. And then not only would I be happy and rich, but I would be successful too. Now, this may seem like a really big idea, but, I've never started a revolution before, but I think I can pull it off. When I was growing up, I was actually a bit of an influencer. When other people's mothers were saying to them, if the kid next door jumped off a bridge, would you do it too? My mother never once said that to me. That's her. She really never said that because she knew I'd be the one at the front line saying, come on, it's going to be so much fun. And she knew there were always people willing to join me in my adventures. She's kind of resigned to the fact. And, I still believe that if something scares you and excites you at the same time, it's definitely worth doing. So who here likes to have fun and adventures? Okay, so there's a few of you. I know some of you might not want to say because your mom's here, but we can talk later. So show of hands, who here likes the free stuff? Oh yeah, everybody likes the free stuff. Well, you know what? You guys are in luck because I have brought enough free seeds for everyone in the audience to start their own guerrilla gardening adventures. Now, for those of you who may be in the cheap seats, here's a close-up. Always wear gardening gloves before practicing any kind of guerrilla gardening activities. Now, for those of you who are worried about the implications of guerrilla gardening, you may want to start off slow. Maybe plant them in your own yard, plant them at your neighbor's, leave them on someone's doorstep, that you don't even know. And that's great. However, every manifesto needs some rebels and a call to action before it can actually become a guerrilla garden revolution. So this is what I'm going to encourage you to do. I'm going to tell you guys need to be rebels, and you need to take back your green spaces. This is the most important thing that you'll ever do. I want you to take seeds and plants, and I want you to plant them in that empty ditch, in the curb in front of your house, or maybe that ugly vacant public lot that you pass by every day on your way to work. Now, you don't want to plant anything invasive because you don't want to wreck the environment. And if you're going to plant food, you might want to make sure that the land itself has not been contaminated with herbicides or pesticides or possibly any other toxic substances, because it's not fun if you poison yourself. And if you must give crap to someone, buy a load of manure for your local community garden. The city will know who they are and where they're located, so give them a call. And while you got the city on the phone, see if you can talk them into incorporating edible plants into your landscaping. The city spends thousands of dollars every year on plants. You might as well make some of them edibles. This is your tax money, people. Make it work for you and your community. Don't wait till cauliflower is $9 a head before you channel your inner garden rebel. Join the Guerrilla Garden Revolution today, and it'll not only help you reboot your community, but it'll make you happy, rich, and successful too. Go Rebels!